Welcome to the Bucky Brooks Show. I am Bucky Brooks, and I had to jump on and podcast. The Kyler Murray news is outstanding. It's going to be the talk of the league because this is a big deal. Kyler Murray signing a one-year deal to join the Minnesota Vikings. It's such a big deal because you have the number one overall pick, 2019. He was 2019 Offensive Rookie of the Year, two-time Pro Bowler, a guy who was one of only 5 players to throw for 20,000 yards, rush for 3,000 yards, joining the likes of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, and Cam Newton over the first 7 seasons of his NFL career. He is someone who Kevin O'Connell has been pining for, a dynamic athlete, a electric playmaker to put in this offense to add some juice to a talented offense that just has kind of been slogging through with J.J. McCarthy at the helm. Bringing Kyler Murray over not only gives the Minnesota Vikings a chance to kind of remake their offense, but it gives them an opportunity to maximize what I would say is this championship window that this team has. When you look at what they have on offense, on perimeter, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hockenson, talented offensive line, Brian Flores' defense, despite what some may think, and I know FanDuel Sportsbook has their odds at only plus 600 to win the NFC North. To me, this is a team that can compete at a high level. The thing that was holding them back was the quarterback. Well, now you don't have that question mark because no matter what we say about Kyler Murray, when Kyler Murray is playing at his best, his talent is undeniable. Some would say that this is a kid who in high school was the best high school player to ever play in the state of Texas, and that's saying a lot. We saw him go to Texas A&M, then Oklahoma, win a Heisman Trophy, and when he first jumped into the league at Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury, the offense was spectacular. He is a unique dual threat quarterback. He is someone who is comfortable from the pocket, but also can make it happen on the perimeter. And you have to account for his whereabouts at all time because he's fast, he's explosive, and as explosive as he is as a runner, he is just as electric as a passer. Injuries have been, I would say, the biggest albatross around his neck the last few years. He has only played in 30 of the last 55 games for his previous team, the Arizona Cardinals, and those injuries have kind of taken some of the shine off of his game. But make no mistake about this. The reason Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings wanted Kyler Murray is because he is unique in what he can do. He adds a dimension to this offense, and those playmakers that were starving last year with J.J. McCarthy, they're going to be fed because this guy can actually get the ball to them consistently. What I love about this from Kevin O'Connell's standpoint is he has a talented playmaker to work with. No shot at Kirk Cousins or even Sam Darnold. Kyler Murray is a more talented player than Kevin O'Connell has worked with. In fact, Kyler Murray is the most talented Minnesota Vikings quarterback that Kevin O'Connell has worked with. And because he's so talented, I think they can go to other layers of the playbook that they hadn't been able to utilize under any of the guys that preceded his arrival. Now, I know that's going to take some people by surprise, and they're going to say, oh, you're kind of like just riding on Kyler because you like him and you like what the things he can do. And that's an overblown statement. But look, man, we're talking about a guy that was drafted in the top 10 of the MLB draft for the Oakland A's, the then Oakland A's. That talent that he brings is unlike anything that we've seen in Minnesota. Going way, way back, we haven't seen anybody that is going to bring what he brings. Even the vintage Dante Culpepper was a bigger playmaker who could run and do those things, but he wasn't the dynamic player that Kyler Murray is. Going all the way back to when we saw Randall Cunningham and do those things. Randall Cunningham was at the end of his run when we saw him dazzle for the Minnesota Vikings. Jeff George and others, they haven't had someone in their prime that has this kind of talent. And so if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan, you should be excited. If you are one who believes that Kevin O'Connell is a top 5 play caller, play designer, and quarterback guru, you also should be excited because what we haven't seen in this version of offense that is an extension of whatever we call it, Kyle Shanahan, Gary Kubiak system, we haven't seen an A-plus level dual threat quarterback operate this, where you can utilize not only the shotgun part of the offense, but the bootlegs and the movement passes from under center that will allow Kyler Murray to get on the perimeter and will force defenses to respect the edges so the run game can pop. To me, this is unique because the Minnesota Vikings have an opportunity to have a video game like offense with Kyler Murray as a centerpiece. Now, I can't just glaze Kyler Murray and talk about all the good without talking about some of the things that you are worried about. And namely, the things that you worry about are the things that people haven't talked about on the field is, will he fully commit himself to being the best that he can be as a quarterback on the field? Now, this is someone I've known for a long time, watched him grow and develop, had a chance to be around him in Elite 11 camp settings as a teenager, whatever. And I understand some of those things that people talked about. And I understand how it got sideways and a little wayward in Arizona when people talked about the poison pill that they put in the contract, about his preparation and those things. He is a gamer, an avid gamer who loves video games and those things. But I think what people are missing about Kyler is, man, he's as competitive as they come when it comes to wanting to win and wanting to perform at a high level. And in spite of all the questions when people talk about his preparation and his readiness on game day, I think his talent and his production speaks for itself. I told you about the 20,000 yards and 3,000 rushing yards, but 121 passing touchdowns, 60 interceptions, 32 rushing touchdowns. He knows how to put the ball in the paint. He does a really good job of taking care of the ball when he's under center. And there's so much more that he can do when pushed by a quarterback guru who is also going to put him in an offense that is structured, that is a little more traditional than maybe some of the freewheeling style that he had under Cliff Kingsbury. But understand this, Kevin O'Connell, Cliff Kingsbury, they all are kind of in that same ecosystem when it comes to the Rams and Sean McVay and the synergy and the understanding of each other. And I am sure that Kevin O'Connell had some conversations with Cliff Kingsbury before they consummated this deal about what's the best way to utilize Kyler Murray. How can we maximize his talent and work within the framework of the offense to take this offense to the next level? So in a league where we talk about relationships mattering, it matters that Kevin O'Connell and Sean McVay and Cliff Kingsbury have a tight-knit relationship. It also matters that Kyler Murray knows that there's a relationship between Kingsbury and O'Connell and that he has the ultimate respect for Kevin O'Connell as a head coach and playmaker. When you have that kind of respect, you kind of submit to maybe the hard coaching that is needed to bring all of the talent out on full display. To me, that is perfect because the thing that we haven't seen is Kyler Murray fully maxed out, where he's all the way bought in to what you're doing as an offensive coordinator and offensive play caller, and the play caller is all the way bought into the talent that he brings to the table. So to me, I'm really excited about that. I am also excited to see Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and those guys get back to doing what they do well. They are terrific route runners. They are terrific playmakers. And you haven't had an opportunity to really see them at their best because they haven't had a quarterback that could get them the ball consistently. And that's no disrespect to J.J. McCarthy because I'm actually a fan. I was one of his biggest advocates when he was coming out for the draft. But inexperience, inconsistency really stifled this offense. Well, now when you talk about a veteran quarterback taking over, you have an opportunity to see what these guys can do. And I would anticipate Justin Jefferson getting back to his all-pro ways. I would anticipate Jordan Addison playing at a high level. And TJ Hockenson, who they just re-signed to an adjusted deal, he should have an opportunity to be a threat over the middle of the field. As it relates to J.J. McCarthy, there's going to be a lot of conversation about J.J. McCarthy and what this means. Look, it's not going to be great for him, but this is a great opportunity for him to reset. We talked about the inexperience. He has been hurt the 2 seasons that he's been there. He's been in and out of the lineup due to various injuries. He entered the league not having an extensive resume. Even though he had won a national title at Michigan, he was viewed as a guy who was a work in progress as a quarterback. If he utilizes this opportunity the right way, he could be a much better player. And not saying that their games are similar, but there are some things that he will be able to learn from watching a veteran who understands this offense, who utilizes his legs and his arm to help his own game go to another level. When we're seeing J.J. McCarthy at his best, he has been a guy that has utilized his running ability to supplement what he does as a passer. And this team has won when he has been under center. Everything has to go right when he's been there. But watching Kyler can help him advance his game, can help him become a guy that you're like, okay, in time, he not only can be a frontline player, but he can be maybe a high-end player in a system that is very similar to this. Now, the Vikings people will tell you, and even in listening to Kyler Murray's opening comments at the introductory presser, he talked about it being a competition, and he was very, I would say, complimentary of the situation. He was very humble when it came to what this is and what this could be for him, and he is going to see if he can make the best out of it while competing at a high level to be the starter. And even though they're going to guise it as a starting situation, that's a competition. Kyler Murray is the starter. And the only way Kyler Murray is not the starter on opening day is if it goes awry. And so with all of those things, to me, this is the perfect storm for the Minnesota Vikings. And it's the perfect storm because defensively, they're going to have an opportunity with Brian Flores to be able to take the ball away. Brian Flores does a great job of disrupting offenses. They're going to turn it over. They're going to create opportunities for the offense, and the offense just has to cash it in. For Kyler Murray to know that you are playing with a defense that is going to be stout and stellar and can take it away, now we'll have an opportunity to see his decision-making even go to another level. Because when you don't have to make some of these high-risk plays that he had to make in Arizona because he knew he didn't have the support of the defense, now you can dial it back and your game can become about being efficient and effective as a game manager plus, meaning I'll manage the game until I have to take it over as a playmaker. When we think about the elite quarterbacks, that's what they do. And that's what we want to see Kyler Murray have an opportunity to do as he continues to think about going to the next level. As it relates to where the Minnesota Vikings have to go from here, they got to continue to put some more pieces around the quarterback, not just on offense, but on defense. As a team that really went all in last year, they had to shed some of those things, Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, and those players, but there's still enough to get to the next level. And I'm really excited about it. I think if you're a Minnesota Viking fan, man, you're jumping around because you think the Purple People Eaters have a chance to come back. I'm excited to see what it looks like. And the other thing that I can tell you, on the Bucky Brooks Show, we're going to talk a lot about the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to talk a lot about Kyler Murray. And we're going to talk a lot about the bounce back. Because after watching Sam Darnold have success in this system, I just know that Kyler Murray is going to thrive as a QB1 in Minnesota. Make sure you tune in next week when we have 3 episodes of the Bucky Brooks Show, and we're talking all about free agency and eventually how the free agency dominoes impact the draft and how teams are now going to cast their eyes to the young class of stars that are about to enter the league. Until then, I'm Bucky Brooks. This is the Bucky Brooks Show. I will talk to you soon.